Michelle Obama's rage-filled new podcast betrays the truth about her marriage, and oddly, it all seems to tie back to Meghan Markle. As promised in my last video about this Michelle Obama's new podcast, I reported on how, the headline, which I'll show you here because these people really think we're dumb. But Michelle Obama opens up about divorce in the family and freedom in new podcast. That's what they updated the title to say. And I think they updated it because I posted this. I posted about first, she produces a dating show for older people who are single after divorce. And now in the first episode of Michelle Obama's podcast, she is talking about divorce and moving on. But it's about her brother's divorce from 25 years ago. And guys, he's now remarried. He remarried in 2006, but somehow he needs to talk about a divorce from a quarter century ago while he's with a new woman. Okay. Sure, Jan, but they called me a liar when I reported on Barack dating Jennifer Aniston and they were divorcing. They are still pretending because we messed up their PR rollout of it. Now, what's important here is notice they changed it. They changed the title. Michelle Obama opens up about divorce and freedom in new podcast. See, it just says divorce and freedom in new podcast. That's what her PR wanted. That's what they put out. That's been approved. That was everywhere. But this actual article changed to now it opens up about divorce in the family. Because Michelle Obama could have anyone on her podcast, but she chose her brother and for them to discuss his divorce from a quarter century ago. But she actually talks about her own marriage to Barack. I want to say that I think I played a part in this because, I'm the one that kind of made it viral and put it out there. The article that came out about this in a magazine, I think In Touch magazine. And then I also brought up how Jennifer Aniston went on Jimmy Kimmel 9 weeks after this article came out, and they decided to, this is moving over. They decided to do this 9 weeks after that came out to show it, to talk about it. This is the first thing they talk about. And she denied the rumor, saying no while shaking her head yes multiple times, saying she's not mad at it. And guys, just to refute what people have now come out and said about people who are in Washington, D.C., saying they've heard about this for over a year. Everyone's been talking about it. All of D.C. knows. This was people on Megyn Kelly's show. Meghan McCain talked about how she had heard this, and several other prominent people who I don't think they're just lying because it would be defamation. But she went on there. But the key point, and none of them have discussed this yet, it was on the Obama's anniversary, October 3rd. And actually it was filmed October 2nd, the night before their anniversary, for Jennifer to get extra messy. And then everything, her posting and everything else, it went live on like YouTube, and that's when it went really viral. It was shared everywhere on October 3rd, which is their wedding anniversary. Still no answers to that. I'm just a liar. Sure, Jan, tell me more. But let's get into this article. So it says, you should start a podcast with your sibling in the title. And with your sibling is the title of Michelle Obama's inaugural Spotify episode with her brother, Craig Robinson. And really, she shouldn't have. Ooh. The reasons are varied and sundry, but chief among them is her cynical decision to tease with talk of divorce. Not the rumors of hers, of course. No, never. Michelle O is so far above that. But her brother's ancient divorce way back in the year of our Lord, 2000. Oh my God. Maureen. I am liking Maureen right here because she is about it. And this is what I was saying. And as I mentioned in that post and in my previous video, she actually did a Netflix show, produced a Netflix show for older people dating after divorce. And now this. And we know she's come out and talked about how she hated Barack for 10 years of their marriage, 10 years straight. relentlessly hating him with no let up, with no end in sight. I can understand being mad at your husband, being unhappy in your marriage, different things, but to actually just hate for 10 straight years? Okay. Yes, her brother's marital failure is cannon fodder for the otherwise pointless ego bath, this excruciating exercise in attempting to prove, a la Meghan Markle, that Michelle has more to offer than her marriage, which may or may not be ending. But that topic is clearly off limits. Relatedly, her older brother Craig, now 62 to her 61, seems a little bit afraid of her. What? I haven't listened to it because I'm avoiding it. It's going to be torture, but it's not hard to see why. Despite Michelle's guardedness, which she has always tried to deflect with ostensibly humorous anecdotes that allow her to shine while denigrating her husband. Remember Snorri and Stinky Barack? We learn that she is an epic grudge holder. Craig can barely explain why he hid his marital troubles from Michelle, who, by the way, is Mitch to him, but an icon to us. Now, these are in quotes. So Mitch to him, but I guess he says an icon to us. Truly, why are we here? To be talked down to by siblings who are still jockeying for position in the family hierarchy. Whoa. Ooh, child. Look at that picture. Which, by the way, is a losing game because Barack will always be number one, perhaps the root of Michelle's apparent fury. She is just as much of a narcissist as her husband. Here she describes her reaction to learning that her beloved only sibling's marriage was ending. Spoiler alert, what about her? Where did she figure in this looming divorce? I felt like the dude I depend on the most, Michelle tells us, Barack, so this is meaning Barack, who I could tell anything to, didn't feel like he could come to me when he was dealing with something really hard in his life, which is his marriage falling apart. So she's saying that the man that she depends on the most is her brother and not her husband. That sound right to you? Okay. Instead of asking herself why that was, instead of Craig exploring that with her, he verbally prostrates himself before Mitch. That was a mistake, he says. That was a mistake, and I've learned since then. So he actually repeats that was a mistake twice. Jesus. He goes on to tell us that what it's like to have such a brilliant, famous, powerful sister. I talked about you all the time to people because now that you're an icon, dear God, these two are insufferable. People are like, what's your sister like? This is the conversation of the former First Lady's podcast? Sorry, Craig, not buying it. For one thing, the people in your rarefied world, the CEOs and billionaires, have far more couth than that. Secondly, we all know that what Michelle Obama is like. She is resentful, still, that her husband brought her and their girls into the White House, that his election made her the first Black First Lady, and conferred upon her an immorality that no amount of books written on Netflix productions or podcasts launched will ever grant her. It's Craig, she thinks, not more appropriately her husband, for getting her through the hell that was the White House. So again, seems like her brother is her husband. He is the man that is the man in her life. And he got her through all of the White House, not her husband. When I tell you Michelle tells on herself, like when I mentioned she was mad at Barack for 10 years straight, she is saying a lot and thinks we're too dumb to read between the lines. Later, she reiterates, again at Barack's expense, I mean, over the course of the campaign and the many campaigns and our time in the White House, I could count on you to be there when I needed you. Yes. However, did Michelle get through being adored by the nation, called the most youthful and electrifying First Lady since Jackie Kennedy, and all of us making her post White House endeavors so successful that she and Barack are now multimillionaires with 4 estates and a multi-million-dollar production deal with Netflix. She would have us weep for her. Her self interest, incredibly, has only metastasized. Michelle, much like Meghan, would prefer to cast her husband's global fame on a funeral pyre in pursuit of cheaper iterations, be that a cooking show host, Markle, or on a new podcast, positioning herself as an agony aunt. They're calling her an agony auntie. Wow. You know, Michelle says, we're going to be taking, questions from listeners who just need a little advice. Is this advice about their divorce? Why is this her first podcast? Why is she talking about her brother basically being the man in her life? But they're not getting divorced. They're not separated. It's all lies and rumor. Perhaps you should look inward. Michelle is clearly still furious that Barack became president. She'll never forgive him. I think not just for getting elected, but for the better looking, smarter, more talented, and more charismatic, but for being better looking, smarter, more talented, and more charismatic. He allows himself to enjoy his fame and wears it lightly. She, however, is the opposite. She is in the grinder, the A student who does great on tests but lacks an original mind. She is the worker bee to his shining star, yet she wants to be recognized for her own talents, which, after all this time, remain unclear. The result is poorly concealed rage that only repels. Oh my, let me see if there's more. Oh, there is more. I was going to play that, but here we go. Michelle, again, I want to see if I can make this bigger because, yeah, there, you guys can see a little bit. Michelle, again, like Meghan, hops from project to project with diminishing returns, given chance after chance, not for who she is, but who she married. Who even knew that Michelle is the executive producer of a flailing show called Later Daters about older people looking for love on Netflix. That might be why she hasn't quashed rumors of a divorce. Perhaps it's more than strategic headline hunting. Michelle probably relishes her husband's perfect record being a little sullied. Guys, and this is what I was saying back when I was reporting on that article. It looks like Michelle gave that information, or her team, because it paints Barack and Aniston as really betraying her, that Jennifer Aniston's off girl code, and that she really trusted Barack. And it paints her like this innocent lamb that has just been taken to the wolves. And how could they do this? And that it says that Barack and Aniston are inseparable, that he's basically choosing Aniston over her. It gives details that I don't see how that magazine In Touch could have this. They have multiple sources. I don't understand how they can have this and they'll publish it, and knowing that they can get sued for defamation, knowing that they can get in a lot of trouble. This is a thorough report with like insider tea. And the fact that it was important enough to go on Jimmy Kimmel on their anniversary, I believe, was Jennifer Aniston clapping back and trying to ruin their anniversary because Michelle basically called her a lying, whoring skank. In my opinion, it was Michelle, but she's basically a lying, whoring skank in the In Touch article. And so the night before their anniversary, and just so you know, that came out, I believe, like the day after Barack's birthday. So the day after Barack's and Barack Obama's birthday is when the In Touch article came out about him and Jennifer Aniston cheating, and Michelle is a victim. And then the night before the Obama's wedding anniversary, Aniston does this interview, and then it goes viral on it's posted everywhere. It's on YouTube. She posts her pictures and all of that on their wedding anniversary. I think there's two women in a catfight over Barack. Or I don't know if Michelle cares about Barack, but she's just like, you're not going to be running around, and everyone in Hollywood, which you're saying everyone in Hollywood and everyone in DC knows about it. It's just was being kept under the radar. And that, in my opinion, Michelle wanted this to get out there to ruin his name, his reputation, because he was adored by so many in the Democrat Party, and particularly in the Black community. That was until he spoke down on brothers during Kamala's campaign, but I digress. For lack of anything better to discuss, we are not privy to the real tea, like why Michelle skipped Jimmy Carter's funeral and the Trump inauguration. She and Craig revisit for the umpteenth time Barack's decision to run and the epic struggle to get Michelle on board. Who among us isn't sick of this little origin story, which dates back to 2006? Here's the new detail. Craig did the persuading, riveting stuff. Again, highlighting how Barack forced her into this and her brother saved it. Her brother is the one that, persuaded her and helped her get through it. I think the thing that pushed it over the top, Craig says, was I convinced you not to penalize him for being really good at what he does. It's just what wouldn't be fair. And I talked to you and Mom at the same time, and both of you sat there reasonably mad and said I was right. Why is she so, he's a politician. Why was she so pissed that he ran for president? His own wife did not want him to be president. Her and her mother are pissed off about this. He was a senator at the time. You met him while he was plucked from the ashes and pushed before people to, the golden child. He was given the crown and they put him on a path to the White House. Did you think he never was going to get there? I'm just so confused at why she is so angry, why this is even coming up, why something is very off. And I think it's what I shared with you. Reasonably mad. If there's a better description of Michelle's resting state, we have yet to hear it. Really, that should have been the name of this sorry podcast. IMO, short for in my opinion, doesn't quite capture it, does it? Reasonably Mad with Michelle Obama. Now that would be a podcast worth a listen. Because it's called IMO. It's not even called In My Opinion, it's called IMO. So guys, again, that is the tea. I was wrong though. It's just lies. They love each other. Everything's great. And Melanie is just coming up with anything. If you want to see any of my Blake Lively coverage, as I've said before, you're going to have to go to my Melanie Off Script. It will be linked below. I have some crazy videos that are coming out today. I just posted one with the details of them trying to send bots on my ex account to say that I was lying, get me community noted because something that I posted went really viral, got millions of views. I talked about how Paul Feig tried to respond to me, who's the director of A Simple Favor. He reposted me. It's just been a shite show. I also have a insane video of Ryan Reynolds calling Black people monkeys and other racist things that you're not going to miss. So make sure you subscribe to that channel. If you want to support me, you can also pick up merch at realmelanieking.com. I've created some really unique merch I think you guys are going to love. But you can also, if you want to support me directly, my Cash App link is below. And with that, I will see you guys on the next one.